Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of mine. I'm in my garage in my sewing area and I thought I should come on here and make a video because a lot of people is misinformed and not educated when it comes to knowing the difference between a seamstress, a dressmaker, and a fashion designer. A lot of people out there don't know. They title anyone that designs stuff, that sew, they title them as a dressmaker or a seamstress. There's a big difference between a seamstress and a designer. A seamstress can just cut a pair of pants for somebody and hems it, put it on the machine and fix it for them. Or if you have a broken pillowcase, as long as they have the right threads and a machine, they could fix it back and give it to that person. Okay, that's a seamstress. Okay, and they could also make stuff from scratch. But the big difference between a fashion designer and a seamstress, a fashion designer can design anything in fashion. It can either be a pair of shoes, it can be a purse and some accessories. It can also be a pants, a shirt, a hoodie, blouses, skirts, bloomers, PJs, you know, pillowcases, drapes, whatever. Anything that has to do with fashion, designer. So you come up with an idea, you execute it. The first thing you will need to design and trace and to develop anything from scratch takes a lot of skills, talent, and creativity. Therefore, you will need to implement all the things that you need before you begin that adventure, whatever your little heart desires to make. I'm very talented when it comes to designing. That's why I kind of don't like when anybody call me a dressmaker or a seamstress. I want to say, oh, you need to be, I don't want to be rude and saying you need to get educated. But if I tell you I'm a fashion designer, don't call me a seamstress or a dressmaker. I go way above that. I can do some things that nobody believes it's me when I done them. I'm not talking little sundress that I make when I'm boring or wanna. I can do so much stuff. Even this top that I'm wearing now, I did this just to. It's a fabric that you can breathe. Your body can breathe through. I just take a couple of minutes and did this one day to wear in the house. It's an house wear outfit. This is not something I would wear on the street, okay? Anyway, a designer can do anything in fashion and they ought to be treated as such. So people need to know the difference between a seamstress, a dressmaker, and a fashion designer. All right, end of that topic right now. We're gonna move on to something extraordinary right now. When you need to make, say you need to make this top. This is an extra small swimwear for my daughter. Okay, an extra small top. If you want to make a, so you want to make a medium from this or a large. For every measurement and inches that you take of a specific garment, you go 1.5 inches up from that measurement that you took. So say for instance, the extra small is 32.5 inches and I want to make a medium. I'm gonna go to 33.5 inches, meaning I add on an extra inches from the original. Okay, if you want to make something off of this, you got to look and think carefully. One, this fabric stretches, so it's the right fabric for the right occasion for the right design, which is swimwear. Okay, so you have to use spandex or something stretchable. Even this could make a swimwear because it stretches. Okay, so you use stretch fabric that doesn't run to make a swimwear. Now if I want to make a top off of this, I get a piece of paper like this and I'm gonna need some Sharpies, crayons, or traceable. I have a whole bunch here, as well as you can use a pencil and an eraser, or you can get a bigger size eraser. When you make a mistake, you need to rub, because if you're a beginner, you don't want to go with permanent pen that can't remove the line that you already traced. Okay, so say you want to trace this, you're gonna have to cut 2 of these little pads, okay, because remember you're making one just like this. Okay, if you notice, this have about 1/2 inch. I wouldn't say it's an inch, fully inch, but it could be, and I'm right, it's 1/2 inch. This is your allowance, 1/2 inch, which is your hem line. Always leave an extra 1/2 inch for your hemline, or an inch, depending on what you're making. So I'm gonna show you how I create these 2 little pads if I want to make, which is to cover the breast for the swimsuit. So I'm gonna handle my camera for you to see what I'm doing. Okay, so I would find the top, which is here. Okay, and remember I have to leave 1/2 inch. I would say an inch for a hem, but you could leave 1/2 inch, but I'm gonna leave an inch for my hemline. So I would use a pencil, because remember, if you're a beginner, you use a pencil, you mark the hemline. Okay, and don't forget your rulers. You have to have a ruler, tape measure ruler, pencil, sharpies, and erasers. So from the bottom, I create an inch for my hemline. Okay, and I'm gonna do 1/2 inch from each side. Remember, I could take this off, but I'm not gonna do that right now. I'm just gonna leave it right, just like that, and I'm gonna trace it. And remember, I want to leave 1/2 inch from this side and 1/2 inch from this side. That is my hemline. Okay, and then over here 1/2 inch from the top again. So if you can draw straight, I would come down here. Remember, I'm tracing out my garment now. Okay, and I'm tracing the garment out. Okay, and that is, there we go. Yeah, so there it is. Okay, so now that I traced that, I'm gonna cut. You need your scissors. Don't forget your scissors. You need a pair of scissors. And here we go. Okay, we're gonna cut. In the meantime, you're watching, kindly like my video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Okay. Okay. So to make sure the angles are correct, you can fold this just like so. Okay, and even your cut, because it has to be accurate. Now you see what I did. I want to make sure this point, when I make the swimwear, it's not lean or all over the place. So there it is. This is one of the boob area, and remember, this is gonna be extra small because we have so many allowance to do. And then you need to cut the other pad or the other bust from this thing here, paper. Okay, there again, you're gonna need your pencil, and you make a line up the top. I want you to see what I'm doing. Make a line up the top, and you make a dot here, a dot there, and a dot there. Now you're gonna trace this one to this exact size. No allowances is needed. It's already on the first pattern that you cut. There we go. Now you're gonna put this aside and cut the other one. And you could use this pattern for future designs over and over again. And when you're done, cut your pattern. Please write on the pattern what you did cut. And also label the size, the exact size of what you did cut before. So now we're done. Now you're gonna take the original that I fold in two. That's why you know the difference now, because I fold the original in two. You're gonna add it to this one that you just cut. And make sure it's the same exact. It has to be the same exact measurement, okay? If you have paper clip, you can clip it. You can clip it so that it does not bully you, so that this paper does not bully you, okay? All right, so now that I have it lined up properly here now, okay. This came out a little bigger, so I have to cut it back down. Because remember, this is how your fabric has to be. None of them cannot be bigger or smaller than the other. Okay. All right. So to test my paper skill and my cutting, it has to be lined up properly. And there we are. Voila. There it is. So now that I have two of these, when you're cutting the fabric, always ensure that you doubled your fabric. Doubled it for this, double it for this, because you don't want to make a, what you call it, a swimsuit that everybody can see through and see your business hanging out. You don't want that, right? Yeah, welcome back. Like I said, it's very hot in here. So see, I just made the cup holder for the boobie. Okay, remember, we're making a swimsuit for the boobie. Okay? Now, you can also put a dart here to give it a cup holding. So you would, for the dart, you would put the fabric on the wrong side and stitch from about 3 inches. Come down and you'll have a little cup holder, you know, to hold your boobie. Now, if you have teeny boobs, you don't need no cup holder. I call it the cup holder because you have a little darts in it to make the breast fall into it. Or you can curve the fabric when you cut it like a C, and then you'll have the cup holder for the titties. You don't need that. These are young people with small boobies, so pretty much you realize they just make them plain. They don't need anything like what I just demonstrated. Now that you're finished cutting your pattern for the cup holder, after you turn it down to the seam allowance, you have to leave this 2-part open, and you get your string, your favorite string, and you run it through. But before you ever do that, you have to make sure the fabric is on the wrong side. Stitch the 2 sides and flip it over. Then here at the top, you want to insert the string into it before you proceed with the bottom. So this part, these 2-part stitches first, the second, you put this in second, stitch it and flip it, turn it over, and then you do this last. This is your last stitch right here. Also, you can buy strings and make them and run them in with pins. You use bobby pins and you run them in here, okay? But you can buy strings if you don't have the original fabric to make your string. You can buy the strings and run them, even shoelace. But anyway, let me proceed. Know that you make an extra small pattern from a swimsuit. You gotta name it. You're gonna write XS swim wear top. So see, I mark the size extra small swimwear top. So if you have a bunch of different patterns, you don't want to get confused when you're ready to go check your pattern. Oh, where's my pattern? And you can label both of them too. So you could label this the left or the right. You could put L for left. I'm gonna put that as right, R for right side, and then this is my left side. So I labeled the size, and I also label the side I'll be using, okay? And remember, when you stitch the end, it's gonna be like this. So there, the hemline is gonna be that much taken off, and then the other seam gonna be this much taken off. So see, I know it looked like a slice of pizza, huh? But anyway, this is the hemline, hemline, hemline. Okay, so there it is. So now that you come to my first lesson, I tell the difference between a seamstress, a dressmaker, and a fashion designer, and also demonstrate how to cut a pattern of a basic swimwear, because this is not no fancy dancy swimwear. This is like one of the basic one. Okay, so yeah, come back for more, and I'll tell you how I cut my pattern, what I'll be making next. I will love to share with you my work, and if there's any questions that you want to ask in regards to what I just showed you, if you're misinformed or you have anything that you need to ask me, don't be afraid. I don't sell any work that I do online. It's all of my education is for free that I want to give on fashion, and also, you know, Bible topics sometimes, and even creative cooking, you know, like Jamaican food, whatnot. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Watch all of my videos when you got time. You might just learn a thing or two, and don't be afraid to come back again and like and share my work, and please subscribe. Please subscribe before you go. That would help me. And when you come back, I show you if and when I make my tie and dye swimwear. Love you all. God bless.